Good morning, everyone. How many of you have talents, skill sets, areas of expertise that you have yet to fully leverage in your life? Raise your hands. Yes? All right. How many of you actually want to become who you want to be known for? Raise your hands. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five, and say, "You're in the right place." Woohoo! All right, welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be here all the way from Colorado Springs. Anybody been to Colorado? Yeah, it's gorgeous there. You come here and it's a little rainy and a little wetter. So I'm excited to be here and share what I know. I only have about 60 minutes or so to share and impart some valuable information. And I want to set the tone for today. I want to set the tone. But in order for me to do that, I need you to tune in to that tone. Really get present with me today. Forget everything that you've got on your mind right now. Be here today. Because my topic is your favorite topic. Guess what that is? And it's not real estate. I know that's a love-hate relationship you have with real estate, but it's not about real estate so much as it is all about who? You. Yes. So I'm opening and kicking this off to get you really consciously strategic and deliberate in who you are being instead of all the doing you think you need to be doing. So that's the message for today. So take copious notes. Feel free to take pictures of the slides if you have to. I've got more information at the end of this show that we can work together if you want, if it feels like it resonates with you. So I want to get started right away. How about you guys? Yes? All right. And I'm wanting participation because it's pretty lonely up here on stage. So will you participate with me? Yes. Awesome. Beautiful. Let's get started. I'm going to ask you some key questions. Who do you think you are? Now, some of you flashed back like I did when I first heard this, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. My mom just asked me that question. Who do I think I am? Have you ever really thought about who do you think you are? So here's some key questions I want you to answer. How would you describe yourself to someone who's never met you? How would you describe yourself? What's top of mind for you? Where do you go to? Is it all about what you do for a living or who you are as a person? Who you are as a person. Think about that. Write these questions down too, because I want you to actually answer them at some point. Number 2, how would you answer, why should I hire you? Or you? Or you? Instead of the 353 other people here. Why should I hire you? I want you to think about that. Do you have things at the top of your head that really can describe your differentiator? Number 3, if you had a tagline, what would it be? I'm not talking about your business. I'm talking about you. Your tagline is a WIFM statement. Anybody heard of WIFM? W-I-I-F-M? What's in it for me to deal with you, to know you, to connect with you? What do I get? What is the value proposition? What are you willing to promise? These are key questions, and I want to ask you, if you don't know the answers to these questions, right off the top of your head, ready to go, guess who else doesn't know? Who else doesn't know? Your customers, your prospects, your community, your friends, your family, everybody that you transact with, right? If you don't know this, they cannot possibly know this, right? And how will you sustain what you're trying to portray and perpetuate in terms of your personal brand if you aren't clear? Does this make sense? Yes or yes? Awesome, beautiful. So we're going to kick off with those questions. I want you to ponder those throughout the day. And as you get inklings of ideas, of answers to these questions, write them down in your notes, okay? So why does this matter? Why does your personal brand matter? If you want to tap into what makes you truly different, this matters, right? Attract the right clients faster, turn loyal clients who are advocates, right, for you, Align what you do with who you are. How many of you just want to do what you love to do and have fun doing it? Yes? Awesome. Connect to customers, families, and friends at a much, much deeper level. You want to make big money doing what you love. I think that's why we're all here. And craft on-brand and compelling messages, really, that can just speak to who you are as a personal brand. That's spot on. I call it on-brand. And then, how many of you believe that you're the best kept secret? That you know things that you wish other people would know that you knew, so they would come to you because you're the expert in that industry. If you believe you are a best kept secret in some way, shape, or form in what you know and your expertise, then this is the power of personal branding. Become what and who you want to be known for. That's what this exercise actually does for you. So, what's possible? So I want to talk a little bit about getting known for way more than just a business card, a website, or any marketing materials that you have out there, right? It's so much bigger than that. It's so much deeper than that. Fully understand and be able to articulate your personal competitive advantage. What is that? Have you really sat down and fleshed it out and written it down on paper? If you haven't, then you're probably not consistently delivering on that particular promise. You just can't unless you know what you're talking about. Leveraging your personal brand more authentically, consistently, and engagingly. Building trust and advocacy long term. That makes your job easy, right? I often say, stop marketing for now. Start branding. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means, right? You get and gain what we call self-agency. So what is self-agency? Self-agency is a powerful, powerful thing to have to build your confidence. So let me ask you this. The average real estate agent in the US closes how many deals a year? 6, I'm hearing 8. 10, closer. The average is, 4 to 5, actually, a year. Are you in that stat? You're not? It's okay if you are, because some of you are just doing this particular profession for a particular reason. It's okay. So you just need to know where you are and what you want to create in your world. Clarity is the key. So leverage your personal brand distinction because it's your secret sauce. It's what creates your competitive advantage. So I have a little exercise for you guys to do. If you want to take a picture of this screen, go to Slido, and you're going to plug in the word personal brand to answer this question. You'll get a code. There we go. How many transactions do you need to close annually to be ranked #1 in South Carolina? Does anybody know this? Seeing a lot of 301s. There we go. I'm going to give it a few more seconds. Look at that. Excellent. You guys have high expectations. That's awesome. So 301 looks like it's the winner. No, 232 now. You guys do know your set. Are you Googling this? Do you get the answer? All right, interesting. So it looks like 232 is the answer, and you are correct. You are correct. And who is that? His name is Kevin Mills. Anybody know Kevin Mills? Is he here? Of course he's not here. He's too busy, right? So 233 actually is the number. So think about this. Who does Kevin have to be in order to have this happen? Who does he have to be known for in order for this to happen? And I'm not telling you that you have to be a Kevin, but he knows who he is. He has created a promise, and he's become something that he wants to be known for, and he's accomplishing it. Look at number 3. It's almost 100 closings less. Number 3. This is how far this guy has accomplished himself in these closings and transactions. It's amazing. But it doesn't mean, again, that you're a Kevin. That's okay. But who are you? And what expectations are you setting for yourself in your own personal brand? And then live up to them, right? Do you recognize some of these people? Yes? Nice. All right. So what are you truly selling? What are you truly selling beside what you think is the actual product? You're selling your core values. People are buying into you based on what resonates for them. So if you don't know what your core values are, can you list them right now if you do know them? Are you currently living them? Can others sense them from you? How are these core values actually becoming tangible in your world? How do you show up in those core values? Core values are something that a lot of people think, oh yeah, I've got them in my head, I know what they are, I live them every day. But I tell you what, and Gary will tell you this too, once you start writing them down and actually defining them, then they beg the question of becoming them, right? So this is super powerful to really understand what your own core values are, because that's what your clients are buying into first. They have to connect with you, okay? So it's as simple as becoming more conscious, more strategic, and more deliberate in who you are being. Right? Say this with me. Conscious, strategic, deliberate in who you are being. So it's not so much about the doing. I want you to start thinking about your being. Who are you being? I can do. Find the latest and greatest next technology, the latest and greatest next messaging system, the latest and greatest email system. And if I'm not being who I say I am, or being confident in my stakeholder position and who I am, then nothing's going to happen for me. It's not going to happen the way I want it to happen. Is this making sense? Does this ring true for you? Yes? Beautiful. All right, anybody heard of the 7-Eleven rule? I want you to turn to a neighbor and just start talking to each other. Introduce yourself, shake hands, start talking to each other until I say stop. Ready, go. Okay, stop. Stop. Okay, stop. See, I got the ball rolling. I can't get it to stop now. So what happened in those 7 seconds? In the first 7 seconds of contact, your person you were talking to, the other person, is forming up to 11 impressions of you. In 7 seconds. And do you think those impressions stop as soon as the 7 seconds stop? No. They keep going and going and going and going, right? So what we're trying to do as human beings is figure out, is this person who I feel like they are? Is this person who they say they are? Human beings are constantly assessing and reassessing and reassessing and reaffirming who you are being. So I know that I can trust you, right? So how do others pick up, and you, yourself, how do you guys pick up on this information? Through what? I think I heard it. Through your senses. Yes, so you've got the 5, 6 senses, right? So we're picking up on this subconsciously and consciously on how you were looking at each other, handshakes, if they're nice and firm and confident or not, your tone of voice. I can feel your heartbeat when you create coherence. When you're within 10 feet of each other, we're actually creating coherence, and your hearts are actually starting to rhythmically pump together. That's what happens in vibration. That's what happens in great rooms like this. So when you start syncing up, our bodies are actually syncing up to one another. So if you know your core values and you're actually delivering on them, they're picking up on that. So know that it's so much more than how you're just showing up externally. There's a lot going on inside. Okay, scientifically proven. Fascinating stuff. All right, so I've got some good news and bad news. The good news is you guys, each and every one of you, already has a brand. So you don't have to go to Walmart or Target to get a brand, right? You already have a brand. Whew, right? You got your business card, well, that's not your brand. You got your website, well, that's not your brand, right? So what is your brand? We're going to talk about that. What's the bad news? I think you're right. You already have a brand, right? So what's the question? The real question is, are you in control of it? Are you in control of your own personal brand? And if you're not in control of it, guess who is? Who we listed off before, right? Your prospects, your community, your family, your friends. They're all doing the thing they need to do in order to perceive who you are and creating your own brand in their minds, because you're not in control of it. Once you get in control of it, you can start being more consistent in it. Consistency builds trust. Trust creates history. History forms tradition, right? And you become worthy of advocacy, worthy of loyalty. Very, very powerful. So let's define personal brands. So you get crystal clear on what that is. Your personal brand is just simply a set of perceptions. It lives in your mind first, authentically. Hopefully first it lives in your mind, but if you're not in control of it, it may not totally live there yet, right? And the minds of your audience, because once you know it, you start perpetuating it with your actions and behaviors. It is based on emotion and defined by their experience with you, your products and services, and your way of being. It's just a set of perceptions. So when I say take control of those perceptions, that means you define what you want those perceptions to be through understanding several components in your personal brand's presence. And that's really what this is all about, is how do I create who I want to show up to be and really begin to live that, right? So let's talk about this. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Your brand is not your logo. It is not your logo. So your logo is just a graphic icon that represents your brand. So when I look at your logo, and I've done a transaction with you, I've met you, I've had lunch with you, I've had coffee with you, or whatever, in some way, shape, or form, and I see that logo, I'm going to feel what I felt when I met you. And all of a sudden, that logo now means that feeling. Does that make sense? Your logo in and of itself is not your brand. It's not a font. It's not a color. Those graphics are going to represent something that I've experienced and that I know to be true. So let's take a look at that. So Diana, a real estate agent in Colorado, has listed her core values and style attributes. This is like a mix of those. And she is now walking the talk and delivering on her promise to make her logo be these attributes. When people see this logo, this is what they think. This is what they believe. This is what they experience. A servant leader, loyal, a nurturer, and she's adventurous. They know that about her. So she's tied those attributes to this now symbol that helps then perpetuate it out and helps that go out into marketing to remind people who she's all about. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay. Participation, I'm lonely up here. It's lonely up here. All right. Great. So we generally have a dual brand perception, and this is the dilemma that I'm teaching a lot of my clients about. I know who I am. You know who you are. You've been in your body for, I'll just say decades. I just say decades to be safe. You know your own mindset. How many of you have ever gotten misunderstood before? Yes? Okay. So wait a minute. I didn't mean to come across that way. I know who I am. I don't know why that person thought that way, right? We've all had those situations. So then there's this external perception of us. These are all what I call your tribe or your audience. Sometimes I call them the peanut gallery, right? So these are all the people out there perceiving you being who you are. So the problem is oftentimes only part of us has this overlapping. So what we believe we are is actually showing up externally, right? And that's the dilemma, because not all the time we're not showing up because we're being impacted by an external environment around us. And we're no longer internally driven. How many of you feel like your environment just controls your life? That you're reactive to everything that's going on around you and you have no time to really reflect and be who you are, who you want to be, who you know yourself to be, right? So that's what's happening in this environment now. We are so stimulated by so many things around us that we no longer are in the driver's seat taking control of our own ways of being. We're just doing. So I want to bring you back. I want to bring you back to self. I want to bring you back to self-agency, actually. So what happens is when you get to identify, define, and align yourself to your own personal brand, then you get to begin to build behaviors. You get to actually walk and talk and deliver on your promise in ways that are top of mind to your core values, your brand style attributes. You know what makes you different, and you become who you want to be known for. But without that clarity, none of you can be doing this. It's impossible because we're becoming so reactive to everything around us. And that changes who we are being out there when we allow that to happen. It's time to go inward. It's time to think clarity. It's time to get the competitive advantage that you have as an individual, as a personal brand, back so that you don't have to work so hard. So things start coming easy to you because you become an attraction magnet, right? When you know, when you're clear, when you're ready to rock and roll because you've got brand presence. This is what we call brand management, personal brand management. So let's talk about self-agency again. Just for clarity, it's the sense that I am the one causing or generating an action. I am in control. And when I'm clear on who I am in control. I'm back in the driver's seat. I perceive myself as the subject influencing my own actions. It shifts everything. It changes your external environment as well. It cannot not. It's the law. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, all right. So you're either right now attracting through clarity or confusion. You can just look at what's going on in your life, and there are different buckets in your life, I agree, different areas. You could be attracting through clarity or confusion. So what's going on in your world right now? Yesterday, last week, last month, last year. If it's not going the way you're wanting it to go, you're out of alignment. When you get clear, things start getting back into alignment. So you have to know your point of attraction. If you're not feeling in alignment, then you're attracting out of confusion, and you're going to continue to cycle through and continue to track things that you're probably not wanting to be in alignment with. Okay? You have to ask yourself, am I being on brand or off brand right now? What's happening in my world that's causing all of this negative stuff going on, things that I just don't want? Well, if I'm not clear, how do I know if I'm being on brand or off brand? I don't know. Well, I better get clear so that I can start getting myself back into that driver's seat and do what I want to do that makes me feel good and confident, and I'm delivering on my promise every single day. Okay. Let's get more, say it with me, conscious, strategic, and deliberate in being who I want to be known for. Conscious, strategic, and deliberate. Conscious, strategic, and deliberate. So I have a gift for you. if you want to capture this screen code, you can take a picture of it as well. This is my Kickstarter toolkit for personal brands. It's full of resources for you, including this personal brand assessment tool. It's a quick, 12-question assessment tool that will help you understand the gaps you currently are experiencing in your own personal brand, including a little mini workshop on your elevator pitch. How many of you have elevator pitches and do a lot of networking? Yes. So there's a workshop in this resource as well, and some other tools to get you thinking more consciously, strategically, and deliberately in developing your own personal brand. So take advantage of that. If this is resonating with you at all, this is your competitive advantage. Stop the doing for a moment and start enriching your being is the message. You'll just be happier too. So short of making our customers buy from us, what do? Maybe drop another 10 grand in marketing, maybe that'll work. Oh, let's come up with this catchy phrase. Let's have a party. Let's have an open house. Bring some people in, maybe that'll help. Stop marketing, start branding for now. You market a brand. So if you're out there marketing something you have not yet fully identified and defined, my question to you is, what are you marketing? When this happens and you haven't fully identified and defined who you are as a brand, then you're chasing the client. When you're clear on who you are and defined your brand, you've got content. You've got content that is in alignment with who you are and will attract the clients who are in alignment with who you are. Is this making sense? Yes. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Is this good stuff? Yes. Excellent. That's what I want to hear. Feedback. All right, so what can we do? Do we, again, spend more money in marketing to get more butts in seats, so to speak? People in the door, people to work with? Get my name out there, create some brand awareness? Brand awareness, brand awareness, brand awareness. What the heck is that? So brands aren't inherently good or bad. They just are. So brand awareness, a lot of people think it's all positive. How many of you know stories in the news every single day of bad news about certain brands that they're doing that are outside of their core values? So no brand is inherently good or bad, right? So you get to define what that brand means, what your brand means. So no, let's not do any more marketing. What do? We have to outbehave our competition. Outbehave our competition. And the only way we do that is by distinguishing who we are as a brand to create that competitive advantage and start acting and behaving in that way. That we could walk the talk and literally deliver on our own promises. So there's about 13,576 agents here in South Carolina. How do you stand out from that? You're in a fishbowl, right? How are you guys doing this? Some of you are doing it really well. Some of you are struggling. Some of you don't know where to go next. Wonder why you got in the profession. Some of you are really excited about being in the profession, right? It's different for everybody. So step 1, clarify your brand. Get conscious. Step 2, become it. Be more strategic. Step 3, commit to it and be deliberate. This is your decision. It's your choice. Again, it's not about the doing. It's about the being. Shifting that will make your doing have higher ROI. What is ROI? Yes. So this could be the missing piece in your marketing efforts. It's the fact that you haven't identified and defined the uniquenesses around who you are as a brand. What brings that to the table? Stop being a commodity in the 13,576 other agents. Each and every one of you have a unique, you're like snowflakes. You have a unique way of showing up, and you will begin to attract those people that get it and want it Make sense? So let's talk about marketing versus branding real quick. Again, we talked about, you market a brand, right? So when you guys woke up this morning, you went into your closets and you put some clothes on, you picked what outfit you were gonna wear today, you started your branding, or you started your marketing process, because this is something that you're showcasing who you are as a brand. You subconsciously selected what you were gonna wear today to market yourself, right? So it's all of those external things that happen on the outside that your tribe, your audience, your peanut gallery can see, is you're automatically marketing yourself. So if you looked at these two people and you looked at this gentleman, what are some adjectives that you would bring to the table about his personality, just by seeing this image? Casual, funny. Prepared. How about the gal? Professional. Mm-hmm. So in the first 7 seconds of looking at just a still image with gestures, the way they're dressed, facial expressions, etc., we as human beings are creating perceptions in our own minds about who these people are. That's what we do. That's how we take in information, process it, and understand who we're dealing with, right? It's just a natural thing that we do. So I just think it's interesting. If you look at how they're wanting to show up, or consciously or subconsciously, are they doing the job? Are they on brand or off brand for themselves? Only they can answer that question. So marketing, again, is all of that external information that you're giving off to people. Branding, again, is that assignment of meaning. It's about how do we identify and define who we are and then align to it by living it. So it's inside. We have to start internally. This is in our own DNA. So when you identify and define those core values, the style attributes, what differentiates us, we look at your mantra, brand promise, or why statement. We get super clear on who we are. We can start stepping in those shoes and really discerning, am I on brand? Am I off brand? Do I work with this person? Do I not work with this person? Do I choose to go out and do this? Do I not do this? Right? All of a sudden, everything starts to stay in our lane, and we start feeling the flow and ease of our lives because we are in alignment. So this is one of the most important slides, I think, in the entire deck. I really want you to pay attention to this slide. Let's read this out loud together. How I believe I am perceived shapes who I become. How I believe I am perceived shapes who I become. So if I am with people that I don't think perceive me well, what changes in my chemistry? What changes in my attitude? Right? If I'm around people that I know love me, support me, and will do anything for me, how does that change my perception of me? How many of you have negative talk, negative self-talk? Yes? Same thing. It's how I am perceiving me. It shapes who I become. When you're clear on who you are by identifying and defining those attributes, this changes for the better. Your vibration raises. You remember who you are. Make sense? Powerful stuff. It's time to get more conscious. More what? Conscious. One more time. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Excellent. Good job. So your personal brand presence is inside your DNA. It's already there. You don't have to go find, you don't have to create it. You're uncovering it. And it's really about knowing your core values, right? Because those core values are those guiding principles that when you're aware of them, you begin to resonate with them, they give you goosebumps, and you start attracting those who get that too. That's the beauty in this. Words are so important in our world because they create our world. That's why writing them down and creating a definition around them is so powerful. Knowing those words, being conscious, strategic, and deliberate with those words creates our external world. Again, it's the law. The next thing we talk about in this process is defining your style attributes. This is your personality. It's your way of being. It's a collection of attributes that actually showcase how you live your values. It's the tone. It's the tempo. It's how you're showing up, living those core values. Okay? Those are the 2 of the 6 elements in flushing out your personal brand. So we've got another poll here. List one of your brand style attributes by answering the questions, one of the questions that were on that previous slide. My family knows I value what? My friends think I am what? It's kind of hard, right? If we haven't thought about this before. We got to pick the perfect word, right? Nice. Look at that. Dependable, see lots of honesty. The more people that pick one word, the bigger it gets. Patient, fashionable. Who's fashionable in here? That's awesome. Dedicated, a good person, nice. Driven, very nice. How do you show up being driven? How do I know, by meeting you, spending 10 minutes with you, know that you're driven? This is how we make our values tangible. We create actions and behaviors that help us perpetuate those attributes so that people know who we are from the get-go because they're top of mind, right? It's beautiful. Good job. Transparent, outgoing, love that. Polished. Who's polished? I love that word. It's an excellent word. So how are you polished? Like, you have to be more polished than just in maybe what you show up as in terms of what you wear, right? It has to be what I call cross-platform. You have to show up polished in how you deliver on what you do as well, right? It has to be that core to be a style attribute or a core value. Excellent. Thanks for playing. That was fun. Very interesting. Fascinating. All right. So know that every single thing you do either contributes to or takes away from the value of your personal brand. So either on brand or off brand. And not all of it, no one can always be on brand. That's not what I'm saying. We have off days, but recognize when that happens is the key. Recognize when that happens and get back on brand. So values and style definitions, I was just talking about how important they are. When you flesh them out, these are just some examples. You write them in your terms, not in the Webster Dictionary definition of perseverance or abundant-minded. I don't want something from the Webster Dictionary. I want how you actually show up in that space in all areas of your life. So it's as simple as this. And writing that down and reading it on a regular basis so that it gets infused into your being. And you get less and less reactive to your outside environment, and you become more and more driven from the internal values. You become, again, in the driver's seat of your own life. This is how you build personal brand. It's not marketing. Marketing is just an awareness piece. But until you understand who you are and can assign meaning to who you are, you're wasting your dollars marketing. Because again, I'm chasing the client because I have no distinction. I have nothing to really say about how I have competitive advantage. I'm different. I have a niche. I mean, Charlene here is the double wide queen, right? She has a little bit of an itch there. We're going to talk about differentiators. So know that there is nothing you need to do to be who you are. Do. You don't have to do anymore. But there is something you need to discover to stop being what you're not. Interesting, isn't it? I've got to stop being reactive because that pulls me out of who I really am. I'm going to be in the driver's seat. I'm going to follow my core values. So let's talk about differentiators. It's another aspect of understanding your personal brand presence. This is a firm from Colorado Springs who knows their numbers. How many firm owners are represented here? Yes? Awesome. You've got numbers. Know your numbers and let your teams know their numbers. Know your numbers so that they have something to literally tout while they're pitching to their prospects. When you create these, you understand your own numbers, you begin to create that differentiation in the minds of your community and your competitors. But then there's the personal, which I really want to focus on because this is about you. You yourself each have credentials. You have certain awards, you have unique skills, processes you've developed. You may speak different languages, you might have a niche, different recognitions, you might be volunteering for something in your community. These are superpowers that you have that you need to start talking about because these little tiny things are what connects you to prospects. Because there's some relevance there. You'll find relevance with your prospects with some of these things. And if we don't start talking about them, people don't get to know us. And that's what they're buying. They're buying your values. They're buying who you are before they buy what you can do for me. I have to trust you. I have to know you. I have to see that connection. So understanding your core differentiators are key to building out that legacy. So let's do this one more time. I want to know what your superpowers are. What is your superpower? So this is similar to what one word do you want to own in the minds of your market? What's the one word you want to own in the minds of your market? These are your superpowers. These are things you lean into that come easy to you, that you don't even recognize are a superpower. You just do it. It's who you are. Excellent. Resourceful, communicative, trustworthy, savage. Who's the savage? Wow. I'm getting a little scared up here. Nice. Positive intent. Defender. Nice. Yes, that's a good one. Perseverance is good. Wisdom. Excellent. So now you're starting to think about your own stuff. That's what I wanted to generate here with you today. And I want you to take those attributes that you're thinking about, and I want you to step into those today for the rest of the day, over lunch, at your tables, and be that. Be conscious of that. Really bring it. Make it tangible. That's your challenge. Can you do that for me? Beautiful, beautiful. In the absence of a distinctive personal brand experience, you become a commodity in the minds of your market. Without the distinction, you are a commodity. So it's worth becoming distinctive. Making your brand tangible, then it starts showing up in your marketing. Once you're clear on who you are as a brand, all of these things can begin to happen. You've got this content. You've got this amazing stuff that you can start talking about. Your vernacular changes. Your narrative changes. And you start showing up in this space and creating consistency. Consistency builds trust. Trust creates history. History forms tradition, right? That's so powerful. So I want you to think about this. Your marketing might get your prospects in the door, but it's your brand that keeps them coming back. And of course, telling their friends. You can keep marketing all you want, But then you're just going to be in this cycle. Keep marketing, keep marketing, keep marketing. It might bring them in. But until they see the distinction and you show up and deliver on that promise, yeah. So your challenge today is to be in this space when you're listening to the power of storytelling with Sarah and Sam, when you're applying the iBuyer system with Brigham, when you're becoming a community market leader, right? Pull these attributes in that you've written down, that you're thinking about right now because of this session. Engage with your brand with Eric. He's going to be talking about that. Apply these things. Really start using what you're learning this morning into your way of being in this session. Infuse your brand with video and marketing. See, now once you're clear, you can start doing this kind of great stuff that is highly consistent. You know what's on brand or off brand. You are in the driver's seat, right? You get to choose whether or not this particular video mechanism or this particular email system or this particular messaging is you or not. Don't be who you're not. Identify and define this. And then market your listings in an on-brand sales funnel with Jeff. This is all what you're going to experience today. So you're going to be taking in so much information, a lot of doing, suggested doing, which is great because it's going to help. But get clear on committing to understanding who you are as a brand before you do any more of this. I guarantee it's going to help. All right. Who am I being as I implement all this doing today? You're going to be super excited about all this stuff you're going to hear today. It's going to be fantastic. Fantastic. But make it work by setting that foundation. It's time to become more conscious, more with who you want to be known for. So what you already know, what you know now, is that you already have a personal brand, whether you're clear on it or not. Your personal brand is a set of perceptions. You can control your own brand. This is the big message for today. The clarity of your core values and brand style are key contributors, right, to your distinction in knowing that. Getting conscious, strategic, and deliberate with your brand changes what you attract. And then finally, being aligned with who you are affects the success of your doing exponentially. So I know I've given you a lot of information today. Some of you, this resonates with. It's time. You know it. This is the secret sauce for you. You want us to get started. Some of you, it doesn't resonate. That is totally, totally fine. I have a few books with me, Personal Brand Clarity. It's what Gary's reading and going through the exercises right now. I have a few of them with me, not a ton, but you can find it on Amazon.com or my step-by-step online. If you're more of a kinesthetic, visual, and auditory learner, just like a little bit more excitement than just reading a book, my online course, Personal Brand Presence, is also available. And I'm going to slash it just for 24 hours, starting at the end of this session from $597 to only $97. That's 84% off. To take this course. It's 5 modules, video, downloadable workbook. So commit or don't. It's up to you. No pressure whatsoever. I wanted to give you this information. It's a lot to take in and think about. Walk through it in a step-by-step process. And get liberated with who you are being on a regular basis. I want to thank you so much. Do I need to go back? Yeah. I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. And I want to remind you again to be more conscious, strategic, and deliberate in the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of the month, and the rest of the year. Get clear and let me know how it's going, because things are going to change. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. Namaste.